What a joy it is to be in the house of the Lord. Can we all agree? Can we give it up for Jesus? I just want to first start out by saying how much of it is a blessing to just be up here and to just share what Jesus has done for me. And so I'll just start. Hi, my name is Devon, and I am a follower of Jesus. Growing up, my life was very chaotic. At the age of 6, I was adopted because of an unstable biological family. I suffered all sorts of trauma, including child abandonment, sexual abuse, deprivation, neglect, and the list goes on. As a child, I couldn't understand why I never had a family or a home. I ultimately felt alone, like no one ever loved me. I discovered people-pleasing at a young age in hopes of gaining acceptance of others. I was placed in foster care, which caused me and my 2 other siblings to be separated. I was passed around from home to home for 2 years, finding it difficult to discover a sense of purpose in this life. I moved to a new foster family in 2000, and after many court sessions, my biological mother never showed, and I was officially adopted in 2002. With my new family, I attended church. This was the first time I ever heard who God is and what his son Jesus did for us. When I was 9 years old, I attended VBS and I gave my life to Christ. Even though I was saved, I still struggled in trying to discover my true identity and where I belonged. I was looking for this unconditional love, only to realize later that it was a love that no one else could offer. During my childhood and teenage years, I continued struggling to discover my identity, often feeling unsure of where I belonged. In 2012, I was sexually abused by someone I trusted. I was at a loss, and I turned to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain. I started dating someone, left Noonan, and moved to Dallas, Georgia. Over the span of 3 years, I was arrested twice and ended up working as an adult entertainer. On the day that I was going to re-sign my contract so I can continue dancing, I was very sick. And it was then that I discovered that I was pregnant with my now 9-year-old daughter. At this moment, I knew that God sent this precious baby to save me from where I was headed. So I made the decision to quit my job and end a toxic relationship. After everything I just experienced, I still chose not to heed God's guidance. I persisted in believing that my own plan was better, which led to 2 additional unsuccessful relationships within 4 years. I felt deeply ashamed, embarrassed, and once again so lost. At my lowest point, on February the 1st of 2021, depression and anxiety were at an all-time high. I had reached a point where I no longer wanted to fight. The burden of my sin and shame was just too heavy to bear. But through this pain, God still blessed me with just enough strength to fight for my life, and I was able to get the help that I needed. It says in Psalms 34:18-19, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. The righteous person faces many troubles, but the Lord comes to the rescue each time." When I decided to finally follow Jesus with all of my heart, things started to change. John 4:13-14 says, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water that I give them will never thirst." 3 years later, I'm so happy to share that I've been married to my amazing husband for 2 years as of August. He loves me and my daughter, and I'm so grateful. Although it wasn't easy in the beginning, we have managed to put Christ in the center of our marriage and family. When I look back, I realized that it was God who kept me alive in the midst of the storm. It was his hand that guided me through the darkness, his voice that whispered words of comfort when I felt lost and alone. As I reflect on my journey, I'm reminded of his faithfulness. He never left my side, even when I strayed from the path that he had set before me. And I can now say that I am grateful that God allowed every one of those storms and trials to come my way, because it furthered my dependence, strength, and foundation in him. I am no longer burdened by the weight of my sin and shame. My family and I have recently moved to SouthCrest, thanks to our dear friends Katie and Evan. In the last 2 months, I've felt the presence of Jesus more than I ever have in a long time, especially during the If Woven conference, my testimony class, and our amazing life group. Although it was difficult to leave our previous church where I had spent nearly 2 decades, I'm so grateful that we took that leap of faith that led us to where we are today. So lastly, I want to remind you that there is hope for you today. Right where you are, just the way that you are. I don't know your circumstances or the challenges that you may be facing, but I want you to know that you're not alone. You're never alone. Just as I've experienced his love and mercy, you too can find comfort and peace in his presence. He sees your struggles and he hears your prayers. He knows and he loves you more than you'll ever know. You no longer need to bear that burden. For Jesus, he loves you so much that his body already carried it all on the cross. My name is Devon. I was adopted, never abandoned, and I'm no longer just a fan, but a follower of Jesus. Thank you.